Hello, everyone, and welcome to another UniVirtual Experience. I hope you've been having a wonderful time with all the different kinds of events we've had since May 1st. UniVirtual Experience is a partnership between Educators in VR and Virtual World Society, and they're bringing together experts and innovators in immersive education. They are literally disrupting education around the world. Now, I know you guys are all excited about seeing some works of art, and we'll get to that in a moment. If you could just indulge me, we want to take a moment to acknowledge and say thank you to our sponsors. An event like this, 30 Days of Adventures, doesn't happen without the support of sponsors. Now, HP Virtual Reality and HP Higher Education are our Infinity sponsors. They just released a new edition of the HP Reverb G2. I'm dying to know if anyone has one in the room. If you have one, come and talk to me later. I'd love to know. It's perfectly designed for higher ed with pulse and eye monitoring and testing and other innovations. Excellent for precision controls, research, and development. So you want to check out articles on the educatorsinvr.com website or head over to hp.com. Check out HP Virtual Reality and HP Higher Education. Also, a big shout out and thank you to Engage VR and Avantis. Engage VR, there's so many different events going on over there. Please take the opportunity to check it out, and you're going to experience the Avantis Euphoria nightclub again. We've had such fun there already, and we're going back. So for now, I am excited to turn it over to Mark to get this party started. Mark, it's up to you.
Thank you. Okay, so here we are, showcase time. I've got a couple of slides to show you, just to talk through an item or two which have turned up during the week. As you must have seen, if you've been following the Discord, I'm a bit concerned that I've jammed a few too many models in this event. We have a second event we will go to in 20 minutes or 30 minutes to see the second bunch of models. And then after that, I think we'll probably just drop ourselves into one of Carnivore's worlds, where he's taken the bits of photogrammetry he's done and lit them up properly, and done a wonderful atmospheric world with them. Right, however, I said I did want to show one or two things, because it's all a learning experience. What have we learnt? Okay, ALTSPACEVR are tricky. Well, yes. Get them too big, and sometimes, I think just for reasons which are indescribable, they will break your world or event. You can add them into your world, you can add them into your event, and suddenly you can't get into that world anymore, or you can't get into that event anymore. If you've broken your event, you're a bit stuffed. If you've broken your world, you can go to the world web page, track down the latest object you added, and then delete that GLTF. So there is a way out of it for world. So for all the GLTFs I brought into this event, I tested them out in a world first, and then I decided to risk them in an event. Okay, what else did we learn? For Mac users, the best way forward at the moment seems to be there's a nice 30-day trial of Agrisoft or Agisoft Metashape with full functionality. Which sounds like a good deal, but obviously after 30 days, they're going to want you to pay, or you're going to just give it up and go and do something more interesting. Who can say? But for Mac users, at least we've got a way forward for them to try out these sort of events. And I put on LiDAR, not so much because I've learned anything about it, but I know that Flatstick did use LiDAR, and when we go round the various objects, I would like him to explain what he did with LiDAR and what hardware he was using and how it helped him. I'm still amazed that full of light radar works at all due to the precision, speed of light enormously fast, the precision necessary to detect a light going out and how long it takes to bounce back to you sounds amazingly accurate to me if you can get it working, but it must have been an extremely difficult job for people who put that hardware together. Okay, what else did we learn? Couple of folks have tried out a quick capture method for not using 50 photographs, but taking a short video, capturing it at, say, 2 frames per second or 1 frame per second, and then the Zephyr software just takes those as 50 shots, and it processes those as well, if not better, than the photographic method, which I demonstrated back on Tuesday. So that's a useful thing to know, because quick capture is going to give us a quicker workflow, which makes us more likely just to go out and give it a try every now and again. And then another key thing I'd mention is avoiding movement. So things that shouldn't move. The object itself, we talked about that, but a few folks have mentioned that trying to do plants which were blowing in the wind just was impossible. Even just a bit of shake or a touch of movement in the object itself will destroy the photogrammetry's ability to decide where that object was. Similarly, shadows, particularly if you're taking lots of photographs and you take too long in doing that round of photographs, the shadow will have moved. So again, that confuses the software. And hey, who knew? Dogs hate photogrammetry. And here I'm not saying that they just go and knock things over, but dogs moving in the background then confuses the software, which says, oh, well, I can't work out where this camera position is, because if it's where I thought it was, there should have been a dog in the background there, and it shifted in the meantime. So this is all a hint that we need fairly static positions of things, or maybe the camcorder video method can help with this. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go round the back of this stand and then out into the garden. And if we have the person who made the necessary object, we'll try and get them to talk about it. If that person isn't there, then I'll just spiel a bit, or maybe we can ask some questions. I think everybody, we'll probably let everybody on talk, but I'll also switch on raise hands, so that it will become a little bit more obvious if you want to be given a megaphone to talk. Okay, so that's going to be session 1, event 1 here. Then after we do I think it's 8 or 9 objects in this room, we will try and move to event 2. You'll have to find event 2. It starts, I think, 20 minutes after the hour, and it should be as listed as one of the main events in the normal events list. So just take a look for that. Let's go and do this. Come on round this way, guys. Gathering of folk for a few up on the stands. Now, too many pseudo names. Is Shebenoit in the room? Anybody willing to admit to having done this work? Okay, so possibly not. Nice bit of model, probably concrete. Yes, I think it is concrete, from a garden sculpture. The advantage I think I mentioned on concrete was that you get good texture. So this has gone fairly well. There's a few cracks, but I think that's something to do with Agisoft Metashape. I don't think we're getting that effect with Zephyr, and I'm not quite sure why we're getting it with Metashape, but it does seem to be happening that way. Okay, let's pop outside, which is a little bit more a pile of stuff. Okay, let's gather outside. A few more people coming this way. Okay, so there's Donna. Oh, maybe she's gone. Floyd, just wanted to apologise, Lorel, but somebody's come and graffitied all over your building. Wasn't me, honest. No, they just stuck all this painting up there, but luckily they were daft enough to mark it up a flat stick, so we can track him down, and he can tell us how on earth you did this one.
This is nice.
So I raised hands. I don't know if I.
Yeah, can you get megaphone on there?
Yeah, I think I have it. I see now, just as a heads up for people that also might have potentially have issues with that. I'm currently running on the Quest and Link, and I see that I have like a shift in the view there. But I tested it on the native Quest, and there it works. So maybe I have to double check the import for the PC version. However, this one, yeah, this is the big wall I made with the LiDAR sensor. So with the Apple iPad 11-inch version from 2020. That is, I think that was the first one that had the LiDAR sensor on it.
But you've got both camera and LiDAR together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
okay, and do they come out together? Do you just say do both? They take a photograph with a LiDAR?
Exactly. So what happens, basically you have a variety of apps or camera apps that you can use in combination with the sensor. So there's no specific Apple app that I know of that is doing that, but it's more like other apps, and I use the 3D scanner app, if I remember correctly. Which is basically you have it like it looks like a camera. You hit kind of like a record, and then you scan. Then you scan basically your object. It has those light points or whatever you call it. Basically,
okay. So did you move just parallel to the wall? Or
mostly I did it mostly parallel when I wanted to, let's say, focus on more details. Like there were also, maybe you can face it or see it, there were some plants growing out the wall.
Yeah, just at the bottom.
Yeah, here and there. So I tried to also cover that too, and to get into more detail with that. However, I see, and that's what I also saw with the tree stump, and that's what I mentioned also in there, is if you move too quickly, it's like a smearing effect, like with normal photographs.
Oh, okay, you've got a bit of blur.
Yeah, and so it's good to do it very slowly. I mean, when you do like with a DSLR, you do it like with the normal photographs, you're of course slowly because you are static at one point. And since you are kind of doing a video, at least it feels like that, you forget to be precise and hold the position. Which sometimes can then result into kind of a smearing effect. Overall,
can you just
for this one,
tell us about the big one as well, or do you have something more on this?
Which one? In the back there. Yeah. Okay. So the big long horizontal wall was made with the LiDAR sensor, and just to tell a sentence to that, it basically made over 300 pictures automatically. So, but you can really use, let's say you have all the tools that we have with Zephyr within the app to adjust and crop it and all that stuff. And it's a little bit takes a little bit to get used to that, but it's super easy afterwards you get.
So I do think LiDAR will be the future of this technology. I think you can get by with photos now, but I think LiDAR is going to be the way to go.
Yeah,
So
of course, if you
on
when you
this
do it
one, did
slow,
you just stand in
yeah.
one position, or did you move at all for this?
For this one was made with my DSLR camera.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah, and for that, when you see, I mean, I have a similar picture with that, with a longer wall with a woman there, also made with a DSLR. You have more of, because of the DSLR, you have more detail. Because you're more
Mhm.
static and have you know, more focus on that. But overall, yeah, I did that with the DSLR. Tried to cover everything that I could get, and yeah, basically made everything the way you taught us in Zephyr. Yeah,
Okay, so it
and
worked remarkably well. I think
yeah.
there's one or two holes on the top
In the
window,
windows.
possibly.
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
it's just
That was
difficult to get
the
get the angle.
exactly. Yeah, especially if you know, even if you have a tripod or something like that, I mean, the wall is really high, or it's basically a building. Yeah, as you might could guess. So I couldn't really. I would maybe have needed a drone or something to really cover
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Which
but,
people can
yeah.
do, by the way. Again, if you've got a drone that can take video, that's viewable and then capture the video for it. Actually, I'm amazed that you managed to get that amount of height without it going much worse than that up above you.
Yeah, I made it like structured, like with all around with the 3D object, but this time really structured just to cover the wall, to get near, yeah, to the object, to have more detail, but overall also to cover the whole object in itself.
Okay.
And the software 3D Zephyr did a really good job combining all together.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Carnivore, could you talk us through a couple of your pieces? I know you've got a little full of land, I don't know, full of gathering of things down here.
Yeah. This is a collection of stuff that I just got from my backyard. So there's some pine cones and some rocks and some geodes and I think some driftwood is all in there. And I was really just trying to see if the software could do like the gaps between the sticks and the pine cones. And it really did an amazing job of getting all of these little crevices and the gaps between the different objects, which, you know, traditionally would be really hard for photogrammetry to do. To realize
Well, you
that
didn't have to
something
do
is supposed to be
any cleanup or try and cut things out.
No, not a bit. I cut out the rest of the environment and the rest of the tabletop, but I didn't make any structural changes to the model.
Okay, good news. Okay, so you've got a few pieces in here. You got this one over here. How big is this guy in real life?
He's about 25 centimeters across, about a foot across.
Okay. So I don't know what it is about it, but he just seems able to be blown up to any 5 and still look interesting.
I totally agree. I totally agree. In real life, he's the creepiest thing I've ever seen. I don't even know why I still have him, but he was a good subject. And
Right.
I had a feeling that he would turn out well because, you know, he's like the concrete thing. He's the surface has got a really rough texture to it, and there's no shininess to it, and it's got a lot of detail and deformation in the surface. So I figured he would do well.
Maybe a touch of cartoon, so it's all exaggerated anyway. That
Right.
might allow it to be any good size.
Mm-hmm.
Let's head over there where you'll have another one, which is like really amazing that it worked at all. It's where did he go?
I'm stuck over here.
All right, yeah, behind a branch. Okay, so you took the whole thing about not having small holes and ignored it, and it worked anyway.
Right.
Is this skull? How large is this skull really?
It's a moose skull, so it's probably it's about 50 centimeters long, about 2 feet long.
Okay.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. It's big. It's bigger than a cow skull.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't. It's not too bad that the eye sockets and the small holes round there but I expected Zephyr to have more trouble than it seems to have managed
It
reasonably
did.
well.
It managed really well. Yeah, the eye sockets are each about the size of a billiard ball. To give you
Okay.
the idea how big it is, but still, to go all the way through that cavity and this gap at the base of the skull where I can see all the way through to the other side, I'm really impressed it picked that up. That's, for 50 pictures and free software, that's
Yeah. So I
that's
can only
mind-blowing.
presume that I know you mentioned in the Discord that you had done photogrammetry 5 or 6 years ago, and I can only presume the technology has moved on quite a bit.
Oh, considerably. Yeah, I was stuck in 2015 with my concepts of photogrammetry, and the technology has advanced a lot.
Right. Okay, so I think, yeah, if you shoot over that way, there's a nice blue shed. I think that was Shebanoids as well. And it's snowy wherever he lives. I think that's some variety of farm vehicle underneath the cover. And again, the shed's got a few sort of cracks in it, which seems to be indicative of the Metashape software. And he didn't have enough height to capture the roof, but we can't really see the top of the roof that terribly well anyway. Wheelbarrow around the back had a little bit of trouble. What's it like inside? I get the impression that sometimes they look quite good because just being an inverse of the outside works okay. Anyway, so if you have your own standalone shed, you can at least know that it's doable. And he's one of the few who try to do a sort of larger landscape here. So what's that going to be? 5 meters by 5 meters, maybe? So we've got potential to go a bit further than that, if need be. Okay. Mark, I think you've got another one here with a fire pit. I didn't pop in any fire due to my experiments going wrong last time.
Yeah, this is it's my fire pit in my backyard, and I sort of knew it would come out all right, but at the same time, I thought it would be challenging. I wanted to see how much detail it could get out of the inside of the fire pit. The pit itself came out about like I expected to after doing the other ones, and like the other ones, I didn't have to make any modifications to it. Now this is 4 out of maybe 15 different projects that I tried.
You tried
That
15 projects? Good
Yeah,
grief.
about 15 different. There was a succulent that I've got in my garden that I wanted to scan in so badly. It's beautiful, and I'd love to see it the size of a neighborhood, to just see what it would look like. But it's so translucent and so delicate, and every little breeze would make it move, and it always came out looking like bubble gum. But these 4 were all done in one session where the sun had just gone down, but there was enough light that I could capture everything. And my dog wasn't in the backyard, and I just ran around and shot these 4. And these were the ones that came out right. They came out right without a whole lot of work. Every other thing I tried looked like broken glass or bubble gum.
Okay, well you obviously then went to trying to push for technology again.
Yeah.
Did you take specific pictures of the inside to get the inside detail?
Yes. I got really close inside. So I probably did 30 pictures around the outside, and the bricks, it turns out, didn't need a whole lot. They were pretty easy for the software to pick up. And then I stuck the camera just like right down in the.
If you want to make your way down the stage this way, everybody's out back. So just come down the stairs this way. And just
picking up some extra folks.
Yeah, and just go around. Just come down through the stage here.
Yeah. I think what we've got. I think Flapstick did a tree stump just to
guys,
be sure. If we've
come
not
this
in
way.
the original world.
Go to the back of the bleachers, and there's a doors to go outside. That's where everybody is.
This one is also made with the LiDAR sensor. So I made basically the same one also with the camera. Looking back now, I think with the camera, because I took more time to that, came out with a little bit more detail to the texture. But overall, it was a really good result. Although there, specifically at the point where I'm standing, there was kind of a shadow. Maybe I moved too quickly or something like that. So there's a kind of a hole.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It's slightly
but
odd,
overall,
really, when it's
yeah.
but it ever does hove. You'd think that it would just try and smear across a gap
Yeah.
like that, but it when it really gets confused, it just leaves a hole, which is a bit unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know how to patch it in Zephyr. I suppose if you took it into Blender, you might be able to patch it, or you could put a very small, ALTSPACE plane behind it just to make it less obvious. But it is unfortunate that there's no obvious when you can just say join it up with the best color you could get.
Yeah, I saw. Since I said I also did that. That is the LiDAR one. I did the same model with the camera all around, and what Zephyr did. Basically, I did one shot from above to get also the texture from above. But Zephyr sometimes didn't really did not count that picture in, so it made the bounding box so that part of the upper tree parts were sliced, so they had basically the hole in there. So I had to recalculate and find a way, move the bounding box and so on. That was a little bit fiddlier. I don't know if it has like an a specific volume that it only accepts, because when I widened the bounding box, it began to put in holes onto the bottom part, where the grass
slightly
was.
surprised about that. I thought the bounding box could do a decent 10 meters by 10 meters without issues.
Yeah. I don't know if it's more of the detail or vertices that were there, but I couldn't. So the only thing. It was solvable that the holes at the top could be closed that way. So the pictures were there, and I don't know if you check that in Zephyr when you hit the points where the camera where the camera points are, you could see really the pictures that you made. So at that exact position. And then I found
and that's worth it if you're desperate to get a few more photos back in. You can try and figure out what you've been missing and say, well, should I try again to get this photo in the main scan, or indeed can I go out and get a good enough shot from that position? Okay, I think we've got one more to look at in this particular event.
Can I get in a question here?
Micro M. Do we have Micro M in the room?
I have with this image and the ones on the wall, I have a stereo separation issue. Like Carnivore's ones are fine, but yours are...
Exactly.
I'm probably having a problem with this one. I don't actually know how large a fire hydrant is meant to be. Problem being British. Should it be smaller than that? A lot smaller than that, or just a bit smaller than that?
About half that.
About 3 foot high or a meter high.
Okay, so I should have reduced that by 2/3 at least, or down to 2/3 of it. Okay, so it seems a little bit odd. It looks really detailed up from the front. It's got the maker's name there, but it seems to have gone a bit wobbly at the back somehow. Probably due to being a bit too plain at the back, so it haven't been able to work out where the surface is and have done some unnecessary indents. Oh, hi, where are you, Micro M? You'll raise your hand or something, and I can give you mic.
I have had the problem before with the whole wheel.
Yeah, it's about a little bit less than.
You should have mic now, Micro M.
Can you hear me now?
Question.
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay,
good.
so how did this
Yeah, it's
one go?
about,
I'll just shoot.
it's a bit less than 1 meter high.
Okay.
And that's true that, I mean, you just confirm what I thought, that it looks a bit clayish and maybe it was missing some shots, or that was a bit changes on the sunlight because there were lots of clouds.
I think it was more that it was just so plain at the back, but it couldn't get a grip. There's not enough texture for it to decide how far away the camera was. There was everything else from the front or anywhere where it had a bit of detail at the top was good enough for it.
Yeah, it can be.
Mark?
Okay, no, but on the whole, I think it still worked quite nicely. Right, so time is spinning on. There is a event 2 of this, which you will be able to find if you look in the main events. So if we go into back to your events page and go to event 2, and I will see you there.
No, I don't. No idea. Who is it?
I've got no idea.
Oh, okay. I feel better now. How about the guy over there?
No, but this is really awesome. This is really awesome over here.
Yeah.
You can't teleport on.
It does look Scandinavian.
Right, so mixture of things around here. Is cooler with us. Any idea where the cooler is here?
Megaphone.
I think I have. What I had. Hi. Anybody called Cooler in the room? No, maybe not. Stu, you sent me this nice UGG plant. A goo plant? I can't say I've ever heard of an UGG plant, but he says it's a type of pumpkin. And I've blown it up much, much larger than it deserves to be, but it was just such an interesting shape. Okay, I had a message there saying Cooler was in the previous room, so maybe he's still trying to fight his way in. The traffic cone of also his, which again I've just blown up. I'm just not quite sure what to do with it really. Other traffic cone we can get similarly low poly shapes, but it's vaguely interesting having such a large one. Okay, let's try something else. So, roadworks. Do we have roadworks about? If so, please make yourself known. No, I think not. Okay, well, I can talk about this one for ages. Anyway, because I love it. This, he says, is a cemetery statue from New Haven. On his original model, he had some problems with these holes here, and I think he's worked on it and cut out the holes there.
Okay.
So that was a jolly good job. Again, the stonework and almost certainly, dirt and the like have given it a good texture so that it was easier for software to work on it, and it's done a jolly good job. And I really don't see any particular flaws. Apart from I can see where we cleaned up the gap between the wings and the body a touch. What you can get is sometimes spikes or a poor join across a face or something like that. But I'm really not seeing any problems with this at all. It's really come out very well. Okay. Legouv, let's shoot over to your eagle. Where did Legouv go?
I'm here.
Just making his way here.
Just catching up.
You want to put up a hand and I'll put you on megaphone, Legouv.
Okay, hold on. we go. Oh, there we go.
Okay. So what is this object really?
So this is a lamp. I actually took the shade off and cut the top off too, where the lighting fixture was. It's actually, my friends called one of the ugliest damn things they've ever seen. So I thought it'd be great to model.
And now, what is it built out of? What's the material?
It's kind of like maybe a heavy plaster or something. It really is a heavy, hard material. And it's about 2 feet high, tall without the shade here. I had taken it outside to try and get some better lighting. I tried using some photos, and that wasn't working so well. It was rejecting most of the photos. So that's when I tried taking the video, and the video, I extracted the photos from that, and it took every single one of them. It worked pretty well. I think maybe
I really must try some video work.
I think maybe the video didn't alter the lighting as much as trying to take individual pictures did. I think the individual pictures may have tried adjusting the contrast and brightness.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. Too much auto.
Yeah.
You think on the photo?
Having the video, it probably stayed more consistent going all the way around it.
Yeah, that's a nice thought. Okay, so I think we've got a couple more on the outside, and then there's a couple inside as well. Okay, so I know the seagull is called Mortimer. We have Captain Neil with us. That's one of the pseudonames. Apparently not. So I'd really like to know what the materials are here, because I'm sure it's not real wood and rope, but I don't really know. Resin? It looks like it's full of a souvenir in resin or something along those lines. And he mentioned that he had the odd hole or two, and there's one in the top of Mortimer's head, which you can't see unless you're flying above him. Okay. Micro M, could you raise your hand again? And will you let you talk about this gentleman?
Hi.
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
So who is this?
So this man is Phileas Lebeg, and he's a past poet from the region where I shoot these monuments. And he was kind of doing some poetry and also druid stuff, and so it's kind of a local star.
I'm sorry, local to where? What country are we talking about
to
here?
France, north of France, Beauvais.
Okay. And you've not just done the bust, you've done a nice rock, and if you look around the back, you've got another superb rock behind him. And it all seems to have come through really well.
Yeah, it's a complete monument. It did well. Yeah, it was just cloudy between two showers. So for the sun, actually, it was great.
How long did it take to take all the photos?
I think it took 3 minutes.
Wow. You span round. Did you do video or was it just photos?
I took photos, spun around a couple of times, and
okay. You just quickly moved around. Okay, yeah. Well maybe that's the way to do it. And I aspire to have as good a moustache as he does. Looks wonderful. Okay,
yeah,
couple inside, which I really love. Let's see. Okay, so both of these pieces are by Phileas Lebeg. And do we have that person in the room? Just make your phone if you do. No, that's unfortunate. This is wonderful stuff. I mean, if you look at this full of duck style, which you can't tell really if this is photogrammetry or not. This could easily be just a model with a really good texture on it. So that's worked stunningly well. I'd like to have heard about what the lighting detail for this one was. Similarly, the type of hat here have worked. I've blown it up much larger than I should have, but I just wanted to see when it stopped really working. But the amount of pattern on the hat have made it really easy for the photogrammetry to work. The brightness around the rim is probably just a matter of trying out a few different shaders and finding something. Detail have worked everywhere apart from possibly at the top. There's some sort of more tassel type effect there that I didn't see. Okay, guys, so I'm not quite sure for the number we've got. I think we could probably all manage to get over into Carnival's world, where you've taken the 4 bits of photogrammetry he had and done something more artistic with them than my just trying to show you the details here.
I have a question.
Mark, can you throw a portal to your world?
Yeah, there was. All right, Laurel's telling me no.
Oh, no, we can't. Okay, teleporter
Okay.
is outside, she says. Is there, right? We'll go, let's go and have a look. Hello, Laurel.
Sorry.
Where have you hidden a teleporter?
It's out. Now, I don't get to say this very often. It's past the statue, past the traffic cone, past the eagle, and around the back of the tree.
Of course it is. Very good directions. Okay, let's wander through. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry, Dragoness. I forgot to try to get your kit in, but I was still worried about how heavyweight that event was.
No worries, Mark. It's okay.
Yeah, you pretty much have to teleport down or jump down.
A big jump. Remember, you're standing on a moose skeleton.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Wow. Go skull skiing.
Skiing down the skull.
Is it going to fall off? Oh no! Ah.
To give you a whole world.
It's really good, the fire coming out of the wood and stuff, too. If you go in the fire, it's pretty good.
We all stood inside the fire.
Not sure how we're gonna get out of here now.
Well, that's how it is. You're thrown into a burning pit.
No, I didn't have to do anything to it. I just built them into the template, and I baked the lighting in Unity. So there's one light source coming from here about the fire, and that's what's casting light on all the models.
Oh, cool.
You switched everything out dark? Switched on a
Well,
dark directional light, or?
Well, yeah, the directional light in here is very dark. You know, and you can tell by the avatars that it's about the same color as the skybox. And then there's a really, really bright point light right about the center of that fire.
Okay.
And what's really frustrating, I hope I don't kill anybody by doing this. But
yeah, bringing new models in.
yeah. So here's.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Of me or
So
not?
here's the model. So this is the kit model
of everybody.
That's that same creeper thing. But notice what the light is doing on the kit model.
This is really nice.
Oh wow!
Right.
Excellent.
Right.
Big flicker.
So I have an animated point light, a real-time point light that's in the fire, and that's what's casting this flickering light on this kit object. But real-time lights only affect kit objects in ALTSPACE. It's not affecting the template at all. It doesn't affect the avatars.
But you'd have to redo this all with kit.
That's
the
right.
equipment.
Yeah, that would cost me the baked lighting. So I have a choice. I can have real-time lights or I can have baked lights, but I can't have both.
Tricky. Sorry, Chap Green, you had a question?
Yeah, has anybody used the iPad 12 with the do scans?
Yeah.
Marcel here, have you
Marcel over
using the equivalent pad with the LiDAR? Good chap to talk to. Yeah,
Alright.
do you have an iPhone 12 to
Yeah,
try?
sure.
Does it work good, or is that what you use for your stuff?
Yeah, partially. So I did some models with the LiDAR sensor and some to compare it with the DSLR. And yeah, it worked easily and well with the LiDAR sensor. It's basically like, yeah, kind of like doing a video shot, you know?
Okay.
And
I'm looking
yeah,
at
and
getting one.
yeah, I mean it's a good technology in that sense. So it's you can basically do everything onto on the iPad, and you can upload it directly onto Sketchfab. So it was totally easy.
I have a
Alright,
Galaxy Note 10 Plus, which has a similar technology in it. So there's some of the Galaxy phones have a similar thing.
Well, the difference is the LiDAR has multiple beams on the iPad, and everything else has just one beam, one spot that it goes to. Is what I found, according to what I've researched on the internet, which makes it a lot better, supposedly.
So it's actually stereoscopic.
Well, it has multiple beams, and it can tell by like your little circles, and it can tell how much the circles get distorted at what angle it's looking
Hey,
at.
if we can move a little bit away from the fire, some people are saying it's hard to hear with the noise from the fire. And if we just like jump over here to where Laurel is, it's a lot easier to talk over here.
Oh yeah, much better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Mark, Mark Jeffcock, yes, but I need megaphone.
Yeah, this is a world, not an event.
I know.
Yeah. Sorry.
To give it to you.
So we need to get close to you.
Well, could you set over by the fire because no one could hear?
I was really just asking if you wanted to say any last few words, because you know we can only just around what this is, but I think we've seen everything that we can manage to see at the moment.
Well, we have 1,000. Sure.
He was talking about the lighting, and I didn't quite get that.
All right, you want to repeat the lighting, Mark? Gil? I'm
Okay.
sorry, Gil and Jeffcock. We have too many of them. Carnivore.
So the lighting in here is all baked into the template, and
They can,
it's
you know,
an MRI scan or something like that and convert that into a model. But that is something which you'd have to have spaces inside it to get into. But that'd be quite amazing. It'd be inside somebody's
I don't see
brain.
any reason why any type of scan that you could get couldn't be translated.
If you can import the data in the correct format, I guess.
If you can grab it.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the idea of there's a chap called Dave Camo talking about trying to apply depth maps onto old photographs, and I think that's got some potential for doing some stuff as well.
You know, I think there's a piece of software called Osiris. Don't quote me on that, but it sounds like some sort of Egyptian god, but it takes MRI data like you would get from an MRI or a CT scan.
Really?
And it'll turn it into a 3D object. Yeah, we've used it a few times. It's you know, garbage in, garbage out. It does okay.
Yeah. You'd need to have some spaces inside it, wouldn't you, to be able to get into if you're going to be in it. But,
All right. So I was hang on a second, Haley. So you were saying about the lighting, Carnivore?
So the lighting in here is all baked into the template, right? So these aren't kit objects, they're in the template, and I built the template in Unity as sort of one entity, and that allows me to take the directional light and the light from the skybox and the any other lights that I have in here and really get a good lighting effect on the template. The thing that really upsets about this, and if you come to my workshop tomorrow morning, you're going to hear me rant about this for about 20 minutes, is that there's a real-time lighting system that works only for kit objects, doesn't work for avatars, doesn't work for templates, only works for kit objects. And I have to make a decision as a designer. Do I want to bake my lighting or do I want to have real-time lighting? Because I can't do both. And it's frustrating. And anyway, that's sorry about that. That's what I was saying.
Okay. Fascinating. The is it anyone else had anything else that we missed that we couldn't hear next to the fire? Okay, now you can ask if anybody has any last whatevers.
And I usually
Mark J?
end my events by just running away. But
Okay.
are there any more questions that people would like to ask?
I would like to know, did you do the photogrammetry
good.
and then bring the photogrammetry into Unity to then put the lighting on it, or did you make the world in Unity and then just bring in the individual photogrammetry pieces in here? Carnivore.
So I did the photogrammetry, and it was after I did the photogrammetry that I got the idea to build them into the template. So I guess that's the first option. Is that
okay?
But I just
Go
brought the raw models into Unity and then just made them game objects in my Unity terrain instead of working with the kits. So it's a different upload process, a different build process.
It's fascinating. And when I came in to check before the event, I went, oh, what a little tiny world. How are we going to get everybody in here? And then I moved into it and my brain broke. Did everybody else feel that same loss of perspective?
Certainly when I arrived, I was thinking, what am I standing on right now?
I know.
A bit of a
Like,
shock
what is this?
when you discover
Yeah.
you're on a move slow.
So how was that? But how is that perspective? Is that just our brain exploding, or is that something you intended us to do?
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to feel. That's why I put the spawn points right at the top of the moose skull, because that's the spot where you get the best view of it. And like you said, your perspective is just a little bit off, and it's not until you move down into it that you really get a sense of how big everything is. I spent a while looking just for that spot so I could get that effect.
So that was intentional. And is there anything for those who were builders to take into consideration about recreating that ourselves? Is that just a height? Is there something like, how does that happen?
So I spent a lot of time just sort of flying around it in Unity and moving things around and resizing things and looking for that spot or looking for spots like that. That's also how I pick out where's going to be a good spot for, say, a gathering place, or how do I want to lay out the sounds. I spent a lot of time just sort of flying around it in Unity and kind of framing those shots. So, well, this is an interesting view. Maybe I want to people to gather here. But you really don't get that sense until you get into the headset and you get into the world, and then you can test it out and figure out, oh, this is where it needs to be or not.
Wow.
It's very good. Oh, it's really good. Yeah.
Just really beautiful. Anyone else?
It is. Yeah.
I noticed that the colliders are really precise. So did you, say, enable them afterwards, or was it kind of in the process?
They're all mesh colliders, and I use Unity's generated mesh colliders. They're, if your original mesh isn't too outrageous, they're fast enough.
Yeah. And did you have a feeling that it adds much weight to the scene, especially for ALTSPACE, or is it still lightweight?
No, it's still fairly lightweight and still fairly performant. Like I said, it all depends on what your base mesh looks like. Besides, if I took this mesh and I wanted to encapsulate this with, capsule colliders and box colliders as closely as a mesh collider is, that'd be a lot more work. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
And probably not perform any better.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not getting any problems at all. I'm still getting 72 FPS all the way around.
Yeah, it seems to be smooth.
Yeah,
it should perform down really that bone over there as well. That worked quite well. When I came down, I didn't want to jump. So I sort of skied down the slope down there.
Yeah.
Off the end.
Really when I came in, y'all looked like ants. So, all right. So,
I'm going to do the running away bit now.
You're going to do the running away bit, and I'll do the closing. All right. Thank you, everyone.
When I think of another topic,
it's very good.
See you in a year or so.
Okay, applause for Mark.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Here. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Very
Thank you.
interesting.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
All
Also,
right.
good job,
and
Carnivore.
also, he wasn't joking. He just left. He left wrong. All right. Anyway, also thank you to Carnivore. I just love it when people just exit wrong and then we're stuck with our ghost avatar. All right. So I want to thank you for everyone. I mean, this was amazing. All of the things that you created and have, it's like a gift. I don't have any other word for it. It felt like a beautiful gift to walk in and see these amazing, amazing photogrammetry work. It's just beautiful. So keep going. I hope, are you inspired to do?
I must say that it's not surprising that I quite often dream these things now. After I've been on a VR session, I quite often dream about being in the world. And there's sort of places you can be. It's a bit like being in a dream, isn't it? For some of these things, or a nightmare.
It is. So
really is
hopefully you all are inspired by this. We really thank you for being here at this event on the photogrammetry. And again, thanks to Mark Jeffcock for all the amazing days of work that he put into doing this workshop, for the whole week, and then doing this beautiful showcase. And this is a UniVirtual Experience event. It's one of almost 200 events that we have hosted here in ALTSPACE, as well as over 18 different platforms and apps. We have some incredible events that are still coming up today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day for the entire month of May. And so coming up next, I'm looking here, what is it? Is just in a couple hours is Women IT Pros with Kathy Moya, which is exploring the jobs that don't get as much fame but are essential, and we would not be able to work in the IT industry without these roles. And it's that support all the developers and the creators and things. It's all the support roles for women in IT professionals. So they'll be having a fantastic discussion. And then we also have tomorrow, we have Mark Carnivore here, Mark Gill here. Carnivore is going to be ranting and raving and having just a lunatic experience on lighting in world building. You do not want to miss that. We also have a great experience here in ALTSPACE for immersive intercultural language learning in Franco-German. That is going to be wonderful. Again, exploring language in XR technologies. We also have a travel deck. The future of travel is going to also be here in ALTSPACE, so get ready for that using VR for travel. And in Mozilla Hubs, we're going to be heading off for some fun in hubs, partying with a maze and a scavenger hunt, all kinds of different things. I want to specifically point out that we have coming up also here in ALTSPACE, we have the impact of ethical consideration on the future of VR with Kent Bai and Caitlin. Also, let's see, is that today or is that tomorrow? I've lost track of it. Today is Monday. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. So please check that out. It's going to be an amazing experience as we really look at the ramifications of what all of this means. So again, thank you very much for being here. Thank you to our sponsors that make all these events free and help to finance this with HP, Higher Education, and HP Virtual Reality, Advantage Education, and also Engage VR, among all of the others. So thank you all for being here. Much appreciated. And to Mark Jeffcock, wherever he is, thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Oh, and the filming. Forgot the filming people. Thank you. We love you.
Hey, Mark.
All right.
Quick question for you.